Peace, 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 and welcome to the Origins of Om podcast. I'm your host, Om Maya, and today I really just wanted to drop in and do a short segment on breath awareness of our bodies, and the importance of breathing in a way that is controlled, that is constantly bringing you back to the center of your true self and connecting you back to source. Let's get into it. I wanted to read something from this book by George W. Carey. It is the book on the tree of life and exposure of physical regenesis on the threefold plane of bodily, chemical, and spiritual operation. It was publicated back in 1917, and I love reading books back then because I wasn't here. And a lot of the teachers and philosophers of that time were prophesying a lot of, or just bringing to light what has already been done in the past. So there's really nothing new under the sun, right? And when you understand the sun as far as what you see in the physical realm and how it relates to you as in the solar plex or the sun, the eye, right? The all seeing, then you become a little more in tune with the gifts that God has placed in you and who you truly are and how it reflects out here in the world. So from part 3 on optic thalamus, I'm only going to read this small part here. It says the inner eye, the eye behind the eye, just above and attached to the pineal gland by delicate electric wires, is called optic thalamus and means light or eye of the chamber. In the Greek, it means the light of the world or the candlestick or wise virgins. And these are all in quotations. The temple needs no light of the sun, or in the Bible where it says, if thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. And other texts in the New Testament refer to the single eye or optic thalamus. Let us now search for the oil that feeds this wonderful lamp, the all-seeing eye. Christ Jesus is made to say, I am the light of the world. The word world comes from whirl, WHIRL. To turn the wheel, to gyrate. Okay? The human body is a certain rate of activity, motion, or whirl, i.e., world. And the light of the world and the temple that needs no light of sun or moon refer to the body temple of God when there is oil in the lamp. I'll read that part one more time. The human body is a certain rate of activity, motion, or whirl, i.e., world. And the light of the world and the temple that needs no light of sun or moon refer to the body temple of God when there is oil in the lamp. Error is not sanctified by age. It behooves every lover of truth to cast aside prejudice and dogma and find truth. Now, until we know the meaning of the words Jesus, quotation, and Christ, we will not understand the Bible, which was written in Greek and Hebrew and translated and retranslated to suit the whims of ignorance. of priests, charlatans, all down through the centuries. And that's where I'm going to stop there. Um, of course, if you haven't studied about the story of Constantine and how that went, that further goes into the breakdown of that. So you can understand where things begin. That's the whole purpose of the podcast, the origins of Om, the origins of God or the universe, right? Or the creator, the origins of your true being. And so, one of the things that really does not get talked about, and I really don't feel that it's necessary to make it a big deal, because a lot of times when we take information, right, we turn it into dogma, because then it becomes this excessiveness of information and people want to do it, and now it's this fad, now it's this thing that's a part of culture, and it gets perverse. What I want to do is just have this intimate moment with those that tune in to really dive in to their bodies right now. If you're sitting, if you're driving, there's ways of doing this practice. They say don't operate machinery when doing breathing practices. That's really more in the intensive practices where you need to focus, drop in. You might get lightheaded, something like that. So I do recommend that you are, in a comfortable, quiet space, whether that be your room, your bathroom, your closet, wherever. Even if it's in the car, but it's not moving, that's a good space too. Okay. And as far as your posture, I don't recommend that you need to sit up really straight and tall and erect your spine, unless that feels good to you. But I do recommend that you leave space to breathe in your belly. As we dive into a practice I like to do, is a creative or imaginative visualization of what we call pore breathing through your pores. A lot of times people don't realize that there is consciousness in the body as well, memory in the body, right? And so there are also these little tiny holes where you're breathing in or you're taking in certain things in the air. It's not just coming from your nose or your mouth, it's coming throughout your entire body. And so when you're breathing in through the nostrils, the mind is imagining the air or the breath pulling in through the pores of the body. Now, I'm giving you the visual so when we go into the breathing, you can take in these details, okay? As you're taking a breath in, allow the belly to inflate, but not in a very intensive, hard, forceful way, but in a very gentle, intimate, soft way. It's almost like when you smell something so good, a beautiful fragrant, like, and you exhale and you allow the belly to pull in towards the spine. As you inhale again, the belly inflates. You're pulling in air through the pores. As you exhale, everything deflates and you're pushing all the toxins out of your body. Through scientific research, this is actually a real thing happening. When you're exercising and you're breathing in and you're exhaling, you're actually pushing and burning the fat out of the body as you're taking in breath and pushing out breath. When you study the breath, you understand its source of existence in your life. The importance of having control over your breath helps you in the midst of arguments, in the midst of a catastrophic event occurring, where if you're tuned in and you're connected to the Templar, the body of God, what happens is life becomes like the dream, where when you're dreaming and you wake up in the dream, you realize that you're not so affected by what's happening in the dream. You're really just observing. And so you want to become less activated in this realm, like with the emotions and the physical intentions and, being very tense all the time and, on the go and doing instead of being present. I'm going to leave that there as we drop into the practice. Sit in your comfortable seated position, whatever that might be. Laying down is also highly recommended. um, Getting comfortable laying on your back. Allow the feet to be parallel to each other. Even if you're sitting up, against a wall, relax everything in the body. Notice where you're tensing up at. So as you check in in the feet. Close your eyes as you're dropping in. Check in through the upper thighs. If you're tensing up, take a deep breath. Exhale as you release the tension out of your thighs. Check in with your belly, the lower belly, just below the navel. Breathe in. Relax. Relax. Check in above the navel as you breathe in. Inflating the belly. Exhale as you deflate. Pull the navel in towards the spine. In the chest area, take a deep breath. Then inflate the belly as you're doing that slowly. Exhale everything out. Inhale into the throat, chest, and belly all at the same time. Exhale, let everything go. Push it out through the pores. Inhale at the third eye, in between the eyebrows. Chest inflates, belly inflates. Relax everything. As you exhale, push out through the pores. Take it up to what they call frontal lobe, at the very top of the brain, of the head, the crown. So you want to take your thumb, place it in between the eyebrows, and use your index finger to reach where as far as it can to the crown of the head. That's usually where the soft spot is when you are a baby. It used to be open, remember? And it stayed open for a year. This is where you receive all of your signals from above. Take a deep breath in right there, allowing breath to pull in light from the crown of the head, past the third eye, through the throat, the heart, the upper belly, the lower belly, all the way relaxing in as you exhale. Now that was just to get you into the visualization. You feel free to rewind this part so you can play around with remembering this. But now we're going to do just a short breathing exercise, and you can follow along with me. One of my favorite ones is to breathe in at the count of 4 and then exhale at the count of 4. We're not holding our breath. We're not restricting anything. We're just taking in soft, quenching, delicious, savory, delicate, peaceful, relaxing, intimate breaths. And I'm dropping you into that state of consciousness because some people feel funny about that, but they don't realize that you find bliss, you find peace when you're in the midst of intimacy, when you're in the midst of pleasure, in this sense of pleasure that is not trying to take, but is receiving. And so when you breathe in, take a deep breath in through the nose, and you're still doing the pore breathing and you're doing the belly inflation, you're aware of your breath. You want to take a breath in through the nose as you exhale out through the nose. Take another deep breath in through the nose. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale out through the nose. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale in through the nose. Out through the nose. Again. Exhale. Keep doing that a few more times. Exhale. Keep doing it on the 4 count. Exhale. Keep going. Notice the sound of the ocean in your breath. You're not so different from it. Create the heaven on earth in you. As you become all of the elements. Breath is air. Your body is the earth. You can feel the fire generating in the body. And the motion of the ocean as you pull through. In your breath. This is not about if the mind can be quiet. This is about you controlling your breath, and the mind will follow. Keep on the count. Take one more deep breath in. Savor that breath and exhale. Everything out. Push everything out. Push everything out. Belly pulls in towards the navel. Push everything out and relax. Now, to some, that might be a lot of instructions, a lot to take in, and that's fine. That's the whole point. We want to dissociate the mind from trying to have logic and understanding and, holding on to this awareness. We want to activate this breath, cultivating this breath in order to allow the body to take on that energy that's pulling in and pushing out. Your body is made up of all four elements. With water, your body is made up of what they say 70% of water. That's internal. The blood turning water into wine, right? And then you have earth. This is the physical aspect of the body, the thing you can touch. And then you also have fire, which comes from the belly. When you breathe in and you exhale, you can feel that heat coming through the nostrils. The belly is a furnace. It breaks down the food. It burns up anything that's impure, right? And then you have air, which is your breath. How are you not made in the image of God? This is where you start finding yourself and understanding your true power. Close out all that other stuff. Don't get, bombarded with all that information. Come back to yourself. When you were a baby, that's all you ever had was your breath. When you look at a baby, if you ever just pay attention, their bellies are the only thing that's moving when they're asleep. And you hear this breath like, baby breath. It's peace. It's serenity. It has no judgment of the world. It's not seeking anything outside of itself other than contentment. I'm going to leave that there because I'm pretty relaxed right now. I'm feeling really good. If anything, I'd say, rewind this back from time to time and you can go along with it. Or if, the dialogue is too much for you to drop in, then remember what I shared with you and actually get in the space of silence and do this practice. And you do this practice all throughout the day. People say, "Oh, do it in the morning, in the evening." Yeah, sure. If you want to operate that way, okay. But what happens is you're going to forget. Things are going to happen. Things are going to show up in any moment, any second. And you're only doing these things at certain times when there is no time. There's just now. So you do it now. And then when you remember again, you do it at that now. And you play with this breath, which is the ujjayi breath, where it sounds like you're breathing from the back of your throat. And it helps relieve tension in the body. It helps to clear the mind. It helps with, you could say digestion and all that, because I do play with moving the belly in and out when I'm trying to move food through my intestines or digesting food through my intestines. This is the tools necessary for you to live and to be and to breathe. It's always a pleasure and an honor having this moment with you. Until next time, peace.